studios of Creative Conversations with Dr. C. You are entering the studios of Creative Conversations with Dr. C.
Welcome to the conversation.
Well, hello, my beautiful people. Welcome to another edition of Creative Conversations with Dr. C. I am Dr. C. I'm hoping that everybody has had a wonderful Thursday. Moving into the weekend. Can't wait. Friday will be here before we know it. I cannot believe we're here on May 15th. We started these love letter conversations back on April 17th, if I'm not mistaken. So we're almost a month in with these conversations. So I'm super excited about this edition tonight. We have a beautiful young lady who is my sister from another mother, also a sister publishing company. So I'm so excited to have her on tonight to talk about her love letter. As I indicated, we are wrapping up the love letters, and hopefully, we might have a few more conversations before the end of the month. But as I spoke about last week, we are wrapping this up. The book will be soon coming out as of May 21st. So that's next Tuesday. So if you have not already pre-ordered your books, please go out and do so. But without further ado, I am going to bring on this beautiful being. Like I said, she is a sister from another mother. We have been budding friends for a long time. And so this is her second go around in these love letter chronicles. So this is book 3. So I am going to bring her on so that she can tell a little bit about herself and what she's doing and why she decided to do a second round of these love letter chronicles. Without further ado, I'm going to bring on my sister, Miss Elogeia Hadley. Hello. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Man, I am doing great. It is Thursday. Almost to
Friday
the end of
Eve. Woo.
Friday Eve. I always say happy pre-Friday to my staff. Hey, y'all, happy pre-Friday. I am so excited about coming in on this weekend. I'm still celebrating. This is the month of the Taurus. I am celebrating the whole month as my birthday was last Friday. So I give honor to God, allow me to rotate the sun for 54 years. So I am excited. So I'm fresh off, I won't say the boat, but fresh off of a vacation. And I'm going to continue to have this vacation to the end of the month. So I'm going to celebrate all month long.
That's right.
So I was telling the audience that we are almost wrapping up these conversations. And I can't believe it's almost a month in that we've been talking to the authors of this book, and that this is your second go around. So I wanted to say thank you for believing in this movement, believing in what it stands for. And right now, we really need to have this conversation. We really need to continue to have the conversation about affirming who we are, especially in this atmosphere today. We need to make sure that we're banding together and we're engaging with one another and understanding that we all have stories to tell. So I'm going to stop talking because I want the audience to know who you are. Elogeia Hadley, author and publishing company owner. So I'm going to stop talking and I'm going to let you talk about you, and then we'll dive into your love letter and pretty much why you decided to go a second go around with these books.
Well, writing for me is therapeutic. And anytime I have opportunity to write, I'm helping me help other people.
Yes.
So the first love letter I did, I was already in a position where, because the a caretaker of autistic young adult, and the first love letter was really therapeutic because I was able to kind of all of my feelings, to kind of express myself.
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing for this love letter as well. It's, I don't know, writing is very therapeutic, and it's like getting stuff off your chest, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
like getting stuff off your chest. I don't know, like some people may sing or dance. Mine is writing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just happy to be involved. I appreciate you. Like, and you mentioned like this new environment that we're in.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I hope our writings in the love letter inspire people to find what makes them feel. I always say that because I'm
Mm-hmm.
noticing that in this current time and day, people are lacking empathy and sympathy for others.
I agree. I
They're
totally
not
agree.
feeling anything. That's a problem. That's a
Mm-hmm.
problem. When you don't feel for children or the elderly or people who can't do for themselves or have money to eat, or you're
Mm-hmm.
snatching families apart, and you're burning books. You're burning books. You're telling
Mm-hmm.
people they can't read. It the world right now is so unbelievable. It's like a dream. It's like a nightmare.
Yeah.
It's like a nightmare. It's almost like a movie.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping that when people get this book, they can read their story and the authors that are in it, you know.
Mm-hmm. Can see
Like,
themselves in their writings.
right, right,
Mm-hmm.
right. Especially, I can't even watch the news anymore. I
Yeah.
can't, I even, I think they said your algorithm, you can change
Mm-hmm.
it by the things that you like. So I done start liking things like affirmations,
Mm-hmm.
positive quotes,
Mm-hmm.
chickens, animals, girl,
Mm-hmm.
anything to keep me from my timeline political. It's
Yes.
because it's
It's
like I said,
crazy.
it's like a a bad movie that's
Yeah.
happening right now. So I hope people can see themselves in what we wrote. I really hope so.
I wanted to touch on what you said that, um, being able to see ourselves,
Mhm.
having somebody be able to read these books or read these love letters and understand that they are not by themselves is such
Right.
an important message, because again, as we look at today's society and what it's transforming to,
Mhm.
that there's, like you said, there's no empathy, there's no sympathy, there's
Mhm.
nothing other than self. And right, and we already know self-preservation is number one, but when
Right.
you have those babies who cannot speak for themselves, or those
Absolutely.
elderly who cannot speak for themselves or cannot do for themselves, we of able body should be able to step in and do those
Mhm.
things for them.
Right.
Now, as I used to tell people who see people out who are on their don't have, or on their last pennies or whatever that is, out there panhandling or whatever. And I always say, once you give and you're giving from the heart, whatever they do with it is their choice.
Right.
You've from a space and a place that is genuine, right? You
Mhm.
are showing empathy and sympathy for them. Maybe it might be a facade, who knows? But if you're giving it in a way that it's genuine, then whatever that is, you gave, right?
And you get back what you give out. I'm a true believer
Exactly.
in karma because I've seen it. I've seen
Yes.
karma work. And
Mm-hmm.
I just hope people just start to find that human part of them And writing does that for me. As you, as people should know, who's been following us know that we still have families, that we still have work, our regular 9 to 5s, that's stressful. And then there is those of us who are caretakers for people with disabilities. And it's a lot. You have to find your outlet,
Yeah.
and karma. Well, I'm always scared of karma. That's why I don't treat people a certain way. That's why I have a forgiving heart. If you do something to me, I'm just to the point where I'm like, maybe that's something that they had to do, you know. But I'm from Chicago. Long as you don't put your hands on me, we good.
We good, right? We're good. We're good. That's a stipulation to it. As long as you don't put your hands on me.
As long as you don't
Exactly.
physically be in my space, we're good, But I've been kind of teaching that to young women that that ask my opinion of things. Find an outlet. Find something that makes you happy, brings you joy. Find something that gives you that peace of mind. Because if you don't have nothing else, you'll have at least your peace of mind.
Right. And
I've
that's
been encouraging
priceless.
them. That's it.
It's priceless,
And then
right?
because people can take a lot of things from you, and if you don't be careful, they'll take that too.
Exactly. I would agree.
You'll be a nut.
Yeah, the crazy thing about this, well, maybe not, because I did a podcast maybe 3-4 months ago, and it talked about, are we becoming our parents, right? And we can say, we can go talk to the elders, our parents, right? But if we look at it, we will be the elders within the next 10-15 years, right? Because you have young people that are coming to you asking your opinion. So in their minds, you're their elder, right? And so I remember having conversations about this with this particular person that was on the podcast. And I said, you know what? It's not a bad thing that we are our parents, because they had to see the same things that they're seeing, that they saw. We're seeing it not as rough, but we're seeing it too. And so I think that ties into these love letters and these things that we're putting on paper, pen to paper, that it's everybody has a story to tell. As you said, this is your outlet. This is your therapeutic session for yourself, something that you need to do for self in order to make sure that I have an outlet, that, this is where I blow up on the paper in a good way, not going out in the streets and blowing up on somebody else, and then it can be detrimental, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so I think, as I keep saying, this is a movement. This is something that I'm passionate about. This is something that I will continue to do as long as I'm able to do it. I just want people to know, even though you feel like you're in a space where the walls are closing in on you, there is somebody who's been in that same space, and they found a way to make it work for them. I am a big cheerleader for therapy. Therapy is, if you work therapy will work for you. And I tell people, we've heard this so many times, that in the Black community, in our Black and brown communities, what happens in the household stays in the house. But we need to change that narrative. I've had these conversations numerous of times on different platforms. Have shared the stage with our good friend Pamela Coleman, who's a big component about talking about men's mental health. And I've said this multiple times. We cannot afford to leave what's in the household in the household.
Right.
Because if we do, we are creating a generation of people who are going to blow their stacks.
Yeah.
Right. So we need to have an outlet for them, an outlet, whether it could be writing books, whether it is talking about their trauma, whatever that might be. We need to allow them to have that space to do so. And so I'm hoping that creating the Love Letter Chronicles will allow that space for them to be able to jot down what they're feeling. But I will say it to the end of time. talk to somebody.
Yep.
Let somebody know that you are in a space where you don't feel good about what the outcome might look like.
Right.
Right. We have some brilliant people out here, and they're so caught up with this facade about what people are going to say if I say I go to therapy. Right. So I think these letters will allow people to really see that everybody's not on the same journey, right? Everybody has a different story to tell. So the journey for everybody else can be different, but who knows until you pick up that book and say, hey, you know what? That resonated in my spirit. I feel just like that. How do I get to the point where I feel like I am being heard? And that's the big thing. We want you to know that you are heard, and also taking steps to being able to speak to somebody who has knows, as I say, skin in the game. All they want is for you to be healthy.
Right.
You know. So,
Right.
yeah.
It's taboo. It's taboo in our community. I've had a friend of mine ask me, what do therapy do anyway? You know, I don't like to argue people. I let people be who they are. You know, I don't try to change you. If that's who you want to be, you just go right ahead. But my question to that person was, has anything changed in your life? If you've been doing the same thing over and over and over again and getting the same, what they say madness is, it's just you're going to do the same thing over again and think you're going to get a different
result, and it doesn't happen.
It's not happening. It's not happening. And if you're already in your 50s and the same thing, maybe you should try it.
Yeah, maybe try it and see if it works for you, right?
Maybe you should try it. But trying to explain it is kind of hard. But I tell people, like, for instance, last month I went to a conference, a mental health conference. Shout out to Dr. Shaniqua Jones. It was beautiful. I love this conference to the point. In fact, I called you on the way from the conference. Remember?
Yes, you did. You did.
And it was amazing. It was amazing to see that many people, because it's needed. To see the young people there, to see men there, you know, to see our community turning up. Now, if this had been 20 years ago, it probably would have been just me and her in there. Me, her, and 3 other people.
Maybe 3 other people. Right, exactly. Exactly.
And they the people probably setting up and taking down the tables, you know.
Exactly.
But I'm telling you, it was beautiful. It was beautiful. Even listening to the stories, you learn from other people, and listening to young people talk. And the first thing she opened up with is who hurt you. That's powerful, right?
That's a powerful statement.
Because now you got to sit there and think. Wow.
I would agree.
Some people be like, I don't even know who hurt me. You know,
it could be a multitude of answers to that question, right?
Right. Some people's like their mother. Some people's like their father. Some people's like, you know, with the dumbfounded look in their face because they really don't know. But that's powerful.
Yeah.
That question is just powerful to the point where I contacted her and told her, you know what? I actually really don't need that much therapy. I was going to the conference because somebody gifted me the ticket. I don't know how I ended up with the ticket. I thank them every day, you know, because I needed that connection. And I messaged her, I DM'd her, and I said, Dr. Jones, the next one you do in October, I don't even have to really participate. I don't, because me personally, I'm on every 3-week rotation with my own therapist. Because I'm a caretaker and I have to take care of myself. You know what I mean? How you going to take care of your kids and your life and get up and go to work when you gone?
Yep.
When your mind is gone, when your health is gone, you know, you can't function. How you going to help somebody else? So when people ask me, how did it help me? I don't like to say what my issue is about therapy. I like to say how therapy helped me.
Helped you.
That's how you have to switch that around.
Yeah.
Some of us as young women, we grow up not even knowing our worth and who we are.
Yeah.
We grow up allowing people to tell us who we are.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah,
know,
I agree with that statement. Totally.
yeah, and it's like by the time you get to 40, you just not
Mhm.
finding yourself.
Yeah. And you know, and so that's the thing that what makes this book so eclectic in its sense, because I did the first one, A Love Letter to Me, and I didn't realize how much I had so much bottled up things in me
Mhm.
where I had to dig so deep that I didn't realize it was deep. Like it was so deep, like it felt like I was digging and digging and digging. And I
Mhm.
always use analogous of saying that the onion, peeling back the onion, the layers of the onion, getting to the core, to the point where I was like, wow, I didn't realize it was this so far down and so deep, where
Mhm.
I had to realize that I was really being an imposter, right? I was living for everybody else because we have so many titles attached to ourselves. We're mothers, we're
Mhm.
caregivers, we're breadwinner, depending on what household you're in. You're the discipline. Somebody you got to discipline your kids. You're everything.
Yep.
You got so many titles attached to you that you forget who you are.
Mhm.
You forget that before all of that, you was still a woman or a child
Mhm.
or a young lady trying to grow into who she is supposed to be, right? And it didn't dawn on me until I really sat down after my stroke, and I had that time to really sit down and think that I had some things in my childhood that I never resolved because I was trying to live for everybody else,
Everybody else. Yep.
and not living for me. And when you said 40, I think I start really reevaluating my whole setup around 35, 36, 40. Like boom, like okay, like
Mhm.
wow, like I'm this age and I'm just really, and it took me a long time to say imposter because it felt like, oh, that sounds real bad. Like, ooh, that
Right.
don't sound good. Like, what is she phony? No, I really was an imposter in this skin. I was like, again, living for everybody else. And you've known me a long time. I am
Mhm.
that person that will give my last, will ensure that you have what you need, and I'm the last one getting anything. And so I realized through these writings 3 years ago, almost 4 years ago, I had to start taking care of self. And I
Mhm.
realized that statement, self-preservation, is number one.
It's
I
number
had to
one.
preserve me in order for me to understand my worth as a mother, as as a person of color running a very successful, you know, healthcare organization, whatever you want to call it. All those things didn't mean anything if I didn't know who I was. It
That's right.
made no sense to me. And so when I had the opportunity to really dig deep, I really realized that I was a little girl trying to figure out how do I evolve almost to like from a lava to a butterfly. And I
Right.
remember it did not hit me. I wrote the book, but it did not hit me until I took my first professional pictures. And when I
Mm.
saw those pictures, I realized that I had arrived. And that was so cathartic for me because I smiled for the first time in a long time.
Wow.
And I saw
See?
the glow in me. And I remember telling the photographer and the assistant that did the um the makeup artist, I told her, I said, I have arrived. This is my time. I have arrived.
Mhm.
And I realized what my worth was. Yes, I did all these great things, but I really was the imposter. But that day, when I took those pictures and I looked at those pictures, it was this aha moment. Like, you have
Mm.
arrived. And so it now makes sense to me that now as I'm moving in this direction and making moves and doing things, but remembering, as I said on my last podcast with Miss Phyllis Whitley, her poem is amazing, and in it says, "Do you remember?" I had to remember my worth. I had to
Mhm.
remember who I was. I had to remember that I came from kings and queens. I had
That's
to
right.
remember that I am here for a reason. And
Mhm.
so it allowed me to be able to dig deep. And I remember writing my insert for the book, and then I read hers and I scrapped all of it. I said, nah, I need to really remember. And so it took me back to a place where it was just like I said, it was this aha moment. It's like, like it was like, yes. And so I'm hoping that when I wrote the first one, I wanted people to feel like I felt like they had arrived,
Right.
that they mean something, and that they are an important part of this puzzle piece in
That's
this world.
right.
And we need to hear their voices. We need to hear put the pen to paper and understand their dynamics. And their dynamics can help somebody else. So I'm hoping that this is what this movement is going to be, that we will continue to have these conversations about everybody's track, everybody's journey. Because again, as publishers, we want to be able to allow people to tell their stories,
Right. To
so
express themselves.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
I'm, you know, when I started this when I decided to write, this is what I tell
Mhm.
people, it doesn't take, sometimes it takes you to be a grown up to start to realize that the stuff you did back when don't even
Mhm.
really matter.
Mm-mm.
When you start to really take things, have people say understand, once you figure that out, then the real you kind of comes out.
Mhm.
You know, it just
Mhm.
kind of comes out naturally.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
learning to love, appreciate yourself is hard for some people.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't know that. I didn't know that. That I heard a therapist say that you can kind of tell people, you can kind of tell how people feel about themselves if you compliment them.
Mhm. I would
So
agree
if
with
you
that.
say, "Oh, that dress you got on is so nice," and they go, "This dress?"
Mhm.
So like, why wouldn't you think your dress is nice? You
Mhm.
know, where your confidence at? You put it on this morning. You
Mhm.
know.
Mhm. And you know what? That's funny that you say that, because we had this conversation.
Oh, hey,
A
Mark.
couple weeks ago. Hey, Mark. We had this conversation about, we were talking about our book club, and that's another
Mhm.
story. And I was telling people, I don't do well with a lot of compliments. It's not that I don't like compliments. I
Mhm.
am the person that's always in the background. I want, I don't, what's the word I want to, what's the word I'm trying to convey? I
I don't
just
know what a
like,
wallflower.
what you say,
Because that's
what
how
you
we
say?
met. We met because we both. Well, at that time, I wasn't the wallflower. I was the
No, she
wallflower
was not.
before, and then
That was
after
probably me. That was probably me.
the
But yeah,
wallflower.
yeah, yeah. But it's different. I mean, I don't get me wrong. I take you know honoring people, saying, we appreciate what you do and all that. But again, I always tell people, this platform that I'm standing on is it's not about me. I
Mhm.
want people to be able to live in the moment and be able to understand that they have worth. And I know I have worth. I know I do. But I want people to be able to stand in and understand that they are gems. And only certain people are allowed to see that. So if this platforms allows them to be seen, then that's what I want to do. I want to make sure that people are being seen. Um, I don't know if you're able to see the comments, but Mark is on with us, and thank you so much. One thing I can say, Mark, my boy Mark, he is
Mark is
always
consistent.
supportive, always supportive. So thank you, Mark, um, for uh, for just being supportive. And yes, I had a wonderful vacation. As you could tell, I'm glowing. Woo, I am
Yeah, you
glowing.
are.
And so it's going to be a
And a
glow
happy
for the rest
birthday.
of the
And you
month.
had a good birthday, right?
Yeah, man.
Okay.
I had a wonderful time being able to spend time with my mom and my sister, and being able to just fellowship and just being able to enjoy the moment, because we don't know the day, the time, or the hour that we might not be here again. So I want to make sure that I take as much time as I can to celebrate those women and being around them. So thank you for asking, Mark. I had a wonderful time. But again, thank you for the support that you always pop in and give us, kudos and give us encouragement. So thank you so much.
Yeah, we appreciate you.
Oh yeah, definitely. And Mark was a part of the anthology as
Right.
well too. This is his second go around, and again, just the constant support. And what I will say is I am looking forward to the next one so that we can get more men involved in this. But I will tell you, I'm just super excited for the men that are in this book, because now they are almost breaking the molds to understand it's okay to be vulnerable, to be able to put their feelings on the table and not be judged for feeling a certain kind of way. So I'm excited about the men that are in the book. This go around, which was Mr. Royce, Dixon, and Mark, were a part of the book this go around. And I'm so excited about letting people see that men are vulnerable and they are okay with putting pen to paper. So thank you for being a contributor in this book. But as we were talking about, are you able to read a little bit of your love letter? I want people to really understand the dynamics of this, and who better to give a voice to that but the person who wrote it. So if you have a little bit of it, that'd be awesome, so that the audience can kind of hear a little bit of it. And that's what I've been doing throughout these conversations, allow the authors to be able to read their writings and allow people to see a little snippet of what you will see in the book that will be out. Again, pre-orders are going out now, and the book will be totally released on May 21st, which is next Tuesday.
Yeah, but mine was so long. I don't know how many pages mine take
Next
up.
Wednesday. Next Wednesday. I said
Mine
next
took
Tuesday.
up what, about 5 pages? That's crazy.
No, it wasn't
Take
5
up space
pages.
from other people.
Just a little bit of I want people to kind of understand and tell people why. You said you gave a little bit of snippet of why you did it, but I always say, looking back a year ago and the evolutions of your writings makes a difference. In this particular book, like last time, gives you a way to really write your own love letter as well too, but it also dives a little bit more deep into what healing is and what trauma is and what those components is to be able to start seeing the healing start
Right.
to transform in your life.
Mhm.
So from last year and this year, to see the evolution, and that's what I want people to be able to go back a year ago and then move forward and see how you have grown
Yeah.
over the last year. He said read a little bit of excerpt without giving too much away. Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And so just a little bit of it, just for people to understand who you are, Elogeia Hadley, the author, the mother, the caregiver, just a little bit so people can understand who you are in your writing. Just a little, not a whole lot, because we want people to buy the book.
Okay, I don't know where to start. I told you it's like
We'll start in the
forever.
middle.
In the
Start.
middle. Okay.
It was not until I
There's a
turned
lot of
40. How
middle.
about starting there?
Say what?
Where you said it was not until I turned 40.
Okay. Yeah, that's the middle.
Yeah, that's the middle bit.
It wasn't until I turned 40, a few years after my son was born, that I began to teach myself how to navigate the chaos. I realized I had been living with depression for years, often consumed by worries about my health and how I looked. As the parent of an autistic child, I had no choice but to prioritize my well being and practice self care. Seeking out a therapist was a pivotal step toward healing. I began to focus more on myself and less on the external pressures of the world around me. And those are
That
facts.
is a mouthful. And it's you can break that down, because
Mhm.
here's the deal. People are living in today's society living and don't even know that you're under stress and you're depressed.
You don't.
And
You don't.
I am the first one to say it. I lived in stress and it became a norm. When it becomes a norm, there's a
That's a
problem,
problem.
right?
Yep.
But also in that, I was living in a form of depression because of the stress.
Mm-hmm.
So being able to recognize those signs, I think in the last book we kind of recognize the signs of it,
Right.
but also being able to own it,
Mm-hmm. And
like
pinpoint
own
where
it.
it happened. Yep.
Yeah, own it and say, "Yep, you know what? Today is not a good day. I don't have the bandwidth nor the
Yep.
capacity to deal with this right now. Let me get
Mm-hmm.
myself together and figure out how I'm going to navigate these waters today." Or maybe I might not decide I want to navigate the waters today. Maybe today I'm gonna take a break and get myself together so that I can start over again tomorrow. And it's
Yep.
okay
It's okay.
because you are protecting you. And
Mm-hmm.
it's okay. It's okay to protect you. And so that was a mouthful when you said depression, because a lot of people don't even have a word for it.
No,
You
they don't.
know, um, as Mark was saying, as someone who's battled depression stemming from years of bullying, that was deep.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
very deep because you
Mm-hmm.
have to know how to literally navigate the waters.
Right.
Not only are you navigating the people at your job, because there's probably a whole bunch of extra stuff.
Yeah.
Then just getting to look. The thing about just getting out the bed, that is a chore in itself, right?
Girl.
The chore in itself just to get out the bed, because you're like, really today? Like, is it going to be a repeat of yesterday? Do I really want to get up and face this today? That's a chore in itself. Then once you get up, you got to figure out, okay, do I paint this face on and make it look like it's really pretty, and really deep down inside you're sad and you don't know why you're sad and
Put on
don't
a
know how
mask.
to move past it, right? And then you
Mm-hmm.
go to work and you got this whoever that is on your job that's making your life a living, you know what? And then then you gotta come back home, or you gotta fight the traffic. It's just a whole
A lot.
circle of things
Mm-hmm.
that we have to really take ownership of and try to figure out what that is. So first off, really recognizing what depression looks like,
Yeah.
right?
Yep. And
And
it's different for
it takes you to,
everybody.
right, it's
Like you
different
say,
for
you have to think of, like,
everybody.
some people got all this makeup on, all this stuff.
Yes.
Some people are hiding from stuff. That's their way of being able to hide from the world. They
Yeah,
don't have to look in the mirror. Now,
exactly.
I tell people a lot of the things that I'm battling now is because I didn't understand how depression worked.
Yes.
I didn't know you just kind of drifted. You just
Yeah.
kind of it's just like you're a robot. You get up, you shower,
Mhm.
you go to work, you feed the kids,
Mhm.
you do it all over again next day. You just keep,
Mhm. Mhm.
you have
That's
no
very
idea that you ever seen that movie, Tyler Perry movie, when they went traveling across town. I can't think of their name. Alfred Woodard and I can't think of the one from Misery. I can't
Are
think of
you
her name.
talking about a family that prays together, Stacy?
Yeah, her. Yes. You
Yes.
remember that she said, she asked her, "Are you living or are you existing?"
Yep. Yep.
That's
I say that all the
exactly what
time. I say it all
depression
the time.
is. You are just sitting there existing. You're
Yep.
not making no choices. You're not getting no direction. You're not
Yes.
trying to feed your soul. You're not setting no boundaries. You just kind
Mm.
of just going along whatever people just push you in,
Mhm.
and you
Hey,
just go.
Tori.
Hey,
Yes.
Tori.
Yes, I
So,
would agree. We're
oh,
just
that's what that
we're,
was.
I mean, and it's so deep when you say that, because I say that all the time. Before I wrote this letter, I was just existing. I
This
am
thing.
now living. I'm living for what tomorrow brings, because I'm now equipped to be able to move a little bit differently. My walk is a little bit different. My head
Different
is held up
girl.
a little bit differently.
Preach.
I feel comfortable about who I am. Yeah, I might not
Mm-hmm.
be perfect, but I'm comfortable. I'm not comfortable where I'm sitting right now, but I'm still moving. I'm evolving. And that's
Keep
the
moving.
best thing about understanding your worth.
Right.
Understanding that when you evolve, people are going to look at you a little bit different. They're going to say different things to you to just to knock you off off your out your spot. But that's okay, because guess what? It's not about you, it's about me. And is that selfish? Okay, it could be, but that's okay. But I am preserving me in order for me to be a good steward to other people. And so
Right.
when you do that, you act a different way, you move a different way, you speak a different way, your glow is different. You just, it's just a different look. It's so crazy, because I remember you guys always tell me I don't take my hair down. This is gonna be up for about 2 or 3 months. But anyway, I remember going to work when I first blew out my hair. Well, took my hair down. And I promise you, my staff didn't know who I was for 2 days. One of my employees said to me, I was walking in one of my exam rooms and I was cleaning the room, and she literally, I heard her tell one of the other girls, who is that Caucasian woman walking in my room, cleaning the room? And I was like, and I couldn't do anything but laugh, because I was like, really? Like, okay. And so when I turned around, she said, oh my God.
What was you doing? Flipping your hair? Was you doing this, Cynthia? Was you doing that? I know you was. Yes, you was.
She had me hollering. She said, I didn't know who you was. And then you got the nerve to have them streaks in the hair. I didn't know who you was. I say, when you have confidence, when you living in purpose and you understand the assignment, you look different. You walk different. You even smell different. You know what I'm saying? So I get it. So I'm hoping that these letters will allow people to see that. See them in see that in themselves, be able to feel comfortable looking in the mirror and say, you know what, I might be a hot mess today, but I ain't gonna always be that way.
Nope.
So if they feel that and see that we are real people, we've gone through it, we've survived it, you can too. And so that's what I want these
no matter what age. No matter what age.
No matter what age. My oldest person that wrote last year was 72 or 73. So you're never too old to understand who you are. But I always say, if you get to the point where you're stagnant, then you're not growing anyway.
No,
you're not growing.
No.
And so
it's true. And you said the way people feel about you when you start to walk different and look different and feel different, your energy, see, there is real life levels to this.
Oh yeah.
There's levels to this. And my sister told me a quote that I ain't gonna tell y'all. Well, let's put it on a t-shirt.
We're gonna put it on a t-shirt. You know, I'm the branding queen. I'll put it on a t-shirt real quick.
And I'm gonna look. She said, every level there's a new devil.
Oh yeah, there is. That is so true.
That is a new devil.
That is so true.
And when she said that, I was like,
it's
levels to this.
True. Yes. I posted something. Let me try to find it. But I posted something and I got a comment back after this post, and I didn't realize that when you post things that are hit people a different way, you get a lot of different comments, right? And I remember posting this because I was feeling a certain kind of way that morning. I was feeling, as you said, I was feeling myself, but I felt real good about it and I didn't care. But anyway, so I felt a certain kind of way, but I felt good. So it says, today with unwavering courage, I will boldly claim a new mindset. One not bounded by fear, doubt, or the need for validation. It rises above logic and suppress all understanding, rooted in purpose, driven by faith, and fueled by the relentless belief that transformation begins within. So it begins with us. Our transformation begins with us. If we don't value ourselves, then transformation will never happen. You will never see the evolution in who you are and what you are supposed to be.
Right.
So again, I cannot thank all of the authors, including Miss Tori. We had a wonderful conversation last week with her and Shartia Love Jones. When I tell you, it was so raw, and it's something that we needed.
It was
to
church.
It was church.
Church.
We
Y'all
did.
had church.
And I'm telling you, when it comes from the people that are writing these stories, writing these love
Mhm.
letters, it's coming from a space that is true and real. And so when you boldly claim that, hey, I'm a hot mess, but I'm never going to always
Mm,
be in this position to say I'm a hot mess, that's therapeutic.
that
I
is
remember when Tori made a comment like, I'm not okay. And guess what? It's okay to say I'm not
not
okay.
okay.
It's okay.
Mhm.
Because we 9 times out of 10, we're not okay 100% of the time of the day. If you are, please pass that juice over here to
They be
me.
lying.
Because I need
That's
a
a
little
lie.
squeeze too every now and then. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But in the same token, being able to be so raw and so vulnerable about your situation, about
Mhm.
what's going on in your life, so that people can see that this is real life. This
Yeah.
is life 101. This is life in its pure form. And so I thank Tori and Shartia last week. As you said, we took them to church, and I'm telling
Mhm.
you, it was an amazing conversation, like all of the conversations that we've had. But I really want people to see that these are real live people
Real people.
putting their life and what their life is like on paper, and we need to see that every day, every day. Um,
Mhm.
so, but I thank you, my sister from another mother. We laugh and joke all the time. We've been knowing each other for, ooh, what, 36 years, 35 years,
Mhm. About 35.
35 years,
Yep.
about 35 years. And so you have that friend that you allow you to talk you off the ledge and tell you
Mhm.
when you showing your tail.
Mhm.
Yeah, you have those type of friends, and you want those people in your circle. You want them to be honest with you and don't
Mhm.
always have that yes person. Yes, 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 yes. No, I'm gonna tell you no. I'm gonna tell you when you're wrong. I ain't gonna tell it out in the street, but I'm gonna pull you like your kid. I'm gonna put your business out in the street, but I'm gonna tell you about yourself. And so
Mhm.
you give that to me. And our sister Shanita,
Mhm.
we have conversations all the time. And so I remember bringing it to you all. And I remember having conversations, and I always say this all the time, having the conversation to have people understand, have you ever written a love letter to yourself? The answer 9 times out of 10 is no. And so I want to continue to ask those questions. Why have you not written a love letter do you not love yourself? And some people will say no, because I don't know how to love myself. And so we're hoping again that these books will open up that dialogue, for people to start talking about these things. And my ultimate goal, with these writings, again, a movement, but also being able to open up the floodgates and open up the doors for it to be a 3-day event where we have therapy across the board every day for those 3 days, starting with the women, the men, and then the family. The other big piece for me is the children. We don't have enough people out here that are listening to our young people. Remember, they grow up.
Yeah, they do. And they don't
They,
forget.
yeah, they don't forget. So we need
Mhm.
to get them where they are at the young stage. I'm telling you, we have some kids that are acting out as early as, oh, that's cute, he's 2. No. Hey, Shanita.
Hey, Miss Finesse.
Yes, we need to catch them early. And so
Yeah.
my ultimate goal is to really invest in having a 3-day where we are talking therapy, that we are have people
Right.
that look like us, to have conversations with us, with not just the woman, not just the man, but the whole entire family, because we all need somebody to sit down to talk with, that don't, as I said, don't have any skin in the game, but only want the best for you. And
Right.
so that's the ultimate goal, is to ensure that people have an outlet, people understand that they're not by themselves, and that we're here to support them. And if that's support in allowing you to put pen to paper as a first time author, because last year a lot of the people that are in there had never written.
Oh
Now they're
wow.
authors now. Now
Wow.
they're authors now. But I want people to have that outlet, to but be able to put pen to paper, and be able to feel like they're not being judged. And a lot of times when you have those people who don't want to talk, they feel like they're being
Being
judged, and
judged, or
that's not
somebody
why
gonna
we
judge
want.
them. Somebody gonna have something to say.
Yeah.
You know,
Or
that's the one
they
problem.
say they talk about.
That's the one problem I don't really think I had.
Yeah, no, you didn't have that.
I
That was
had some things
never
going on, but worried about what somebody said was not one of them.
what.
Maybe
And so,
if I had paid attention to that, maybe I would have been a little
mm,
further along, depending on the
mhm,
person. You
right.
know,
But the good thing is that you are now in a position where you know, as they
hmm
say, when you know, you do better. And
right.
so understanding the now is now, and being able to move forward and not standing stagnant, then you're doing better. And so I want people to see the evolution. So that's why I said, if you have not gotten book 2, go get book 2, and then see the evolution of the writings of the authors that have come back for the second time. And
hmm
so I really, you know, I'm a crier, but I'm just passionate, really passionate about this movement, about what this is going to allow us to do. And again, as we're standing in 2025, May 15th of 2025, we have to do better. We
Oh,
have
girl.
to be able to say, I always say at the end of all of these podcasts, please check on your strong
Strong
people.
friends. Yep.
We have to, because if we don't, we're losing them for no reason. you
hmm
know when you have that person that says everything is okay, really they're crying out and saying it's not okay. you
hmm
know and it's okay, because I remember somebody used to tell me, I hate to ask, is everything okay, because that means it's going to open up a floodgate. But would you not want somebody to do the same thing for you? And so put yourself in their shoes. And so that's why I'm just, really passionate about this. And I can talk about this for hours on hours on hours. But again, I thank all of the authors that have participated in these books. And again, this is not my last go around. This is going to continue to uh, go until I can't do it anymore. If I have to pass the baton to somebody else to
hmm
keep it going, I want to make sure people know that they are loved, and that they
hmm
mean something, and
And they matter.
they bring something to the table. So, but again, do you have any final words, because we're wrapping up? But I can talk all night long. And we did have another author, that Miss Dawson. Miss Dawson is probably in her late 60s, so she's probably the second oldest person that wrote her letter. And I'm telling you, you can feel the words jump off the paper on her, in regards to her letter, and talking about her upbringing and the loss of a mother and a sister, and
Mm.
just really heartfelt. And so I just, I don't know what else to say, other than I just truly appreciate you all for taking on the invitation, um, to write your letters. I cannot wait, Miss
I
Shanice,
can't either.
to get the book as well too. But I want to show the book before we do get off, and be able to showcase the authors that are actually in the book. If you give me 1 second, I am going to show the actual flyer, which has the book on it,
The cover on it.
but also show the names of the actual authors. Again, I thank you from the bottom of my heart, for the participation. So again, May
Here, get it.
21st is next Wednesday. I can't believe it's next Wednesday, but it's next Wednesday. And we've had an amazing conversation. I think we might have a couple more people that have decided that they want to share their love letters as well. But again, I thank all of you, from Royce, from Pam, from Phyllis, to Miss Ann Dyson, who was supposed to be on tonight, uh, to to I want to say Tahia, Raquel, you, Elogeia. I want to say Mickey, but Elogeia.
Go
I'm gonna
ahead, stay Mickey.
Mickey. Mickey and Mark and Shanita Finesse, Shartia and Tori. So I thank you guys so much for the participation, and I'm hoping that you will come back for another edition of these love letters when we actually look at again next year and see the evolution of what we've accomplished. Um, yeah, I cannot wait to read everybody's. I'm gonna tell you, you might want to get you some
Get your
Kleenex,
tissue. Yep.
some tissue. Um, but it is just a phenomenal read. Before we do get off tonight, I want to read just a little bit of my writings in here to show that this is truly an evolution for me. Being able to read everybody's stories and being able to again put pen to paper to let people know that this is a real movement, and I think we have to continue to elevate this conversation every chance we get. If you know anybody that is wanting to do this, please feel free to pass my information on to them. We will be looking at again another book sometime next year around a year mark. So if you know anybody that is wanting to be a part of that, please pass my information on to them. So my letter is called Ignite the Fire Within. The struggle against the doubt is a constant battle, reminding me of the fragility of confidence and the strength of perseverance. Yet within my light shone, it brought clarity and enveloped me like a warm embrace, reassuring me that I was not alone and brighter days were possible. So again, brighter days are possible,
Yes, right.
but you got to know that you are worthy, that you're worth it, that you're worth the fight, that you are loved, that we love you, and that you're not by yourself. As I say before we end this conversation, please check on your strong people. Please let them know that they're loved. Please let them know that they're not by themselves. We're in a time now that requires us to pull together as a unit. We cannot do this alone. We have too many people that are in spaces where they are by themselves in darkness, especially since COVID. We still have people, we're still in COVID, and we
Yep.
still have people with the mentality that they're by themselves. We need to make sure if we have to go knock on somebody's door, if we got to constantly call them, if we got to shoot a rocket in the sky to say, hey, you in there, we need to do that because we want them to know that they're not by themselves. This is a movement. This is a movement. We have to make sure that we check on everybody. Without that person at the table, we look over and they're gone. For what reason? We have
Mm-hmm.
to make means and do what we have to do. And I'm hoping that this movement stays a conversation at the table all the time. Mental health is a real thing. And
Yeah,
it's
it is.
okay not to be okay. It's not okay to seek the help. If you work the therapy will work for you. But again, this is a movement. These love letters are for you. If it just touch one person, then we've done our jobs. And so before I get off this line and off this podcast, again, I thank all of the authors. I am not going to get emotional, not tonight. This is my birth month. This is Taurus season, and we're going to do it up. But I want you to know that I truly, truly, truly appreciate every moment of your time, every thought that you put on these papers, that these letters are going to touch somebody. And I know it's
Yep.
going to touch somebody. So please, please go out. Tell anybody that you can think of, go and purchase the book. There's some good information in it. And I tell, it's a disclaimer in there. I am not a therapist, but I've gone to see a therapist. So, but I want you to know that we're here to support you, and we're hoping that these letters does something for you. So I'm
Absolutely.
going to turn it over to you, Miss Elogeia, for your final words, and we're going to say goodnight.
Write a letter to yourself. Have you and your family sit around and write letters to each other. Show that you love each other. Teach your children to love themselves. Start young. Have them write down how they feel about themselves. So then the next one we can do it for kids, you know.
Yes.
But this is important. Yeah, I'm glad you did it. Thank you so much. And I'm gonna be on the number 4, number 5, number 6.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All of the
I'm
above.
gonna be on that. Yeah, but self-love is very important, and this is the first step to understanding yourself.
Understanding yourself, because you're worthy. You are worth it. Self-preservation is number 1, but you got to know that you're worthy. So I am going to say good night, but again, take care of yourself until we meet again on another creative conversation with Dr. C. Good night, and I love you.
Y'all later.